When the controller went out on my Masterbuilt Gravity Grill, I purchased a Fireboard 2 Pro controller and needed a way to mount it so that it wasn't just setting on top or wherever. So I designed and 3D printed this housing unit that mounts into the same location as the controller that was originally in the Gravity Grill. This will work on the 560, 800, 1050, and I believe Costco has a 900. Pretty simple design. Got an area here where you can put your controller. Cables come out the back. Control cable comes out the side. It does require a 90-degree angle adapter for the control line to the fans, and I do include that. Slot over here to access the buttons. Once everything's up and running, you can just slide that back in and it's out of the weather if it's raining or snowing. And put a little bit screw in the back here so that it has a stop when it comes out. Here's mine. You can easily access all of the connectors. I do have an external battery connected as well as the temperature probes and the control line. I'm making these available on Etsy at montana3dprints.etsy.com. They come standard with the Montana 3D prints on it. You can either get that in the gray or also have it in orange. And then for an additional $5, if you'd like to have your own saying or slogan on it, I can print anything you want up to 25 characters, I believe. Just a quick overview on how to install this housing unit. On the back of the controller that came with your Masterbuilt grill, there's going to be 4 screws. You just take those out and the whole unit slides out. Disconnect the connectors and then slide the new housing unit in, and it'll use the same 4 screws to attach it. Then you can put your Firebird controller in there, connect up the cables, and you're good to go. I'm gonna take it apart here and show exactly how that's done, and I'll kind of give you an overview on how to install the temperature probe in the grill for ambient temperature. I've taken the shelf off so that it's a little bit easier to show you how this housing is installed. But if you want to do that, under the shelf there are 2 screws that you need to remove, and then the top 2 screws you just need to loosen. Unfortunately, I've only got 2 screws left. I dropped a couple of them in the grass and haven't been able to locate them yet. But what you want to do is remove the 4 screws. You'll just have to pretend I'm removing 4. Once you've removed the original controller, you can take the new housing, slide it in, and we'll use the existing screws, maybe. I also have these brackets available for mounting an external battery pack, and those are easily installed as well. The screw that holds on the back 2 tool hooks, you want to remove those screws, put in the bracket, and then put the same screw back in. And that gives you a great way to store your battery out of the weather. And comes out like that. Slides back in. Once we have the frame installed, we can insert the drawer system here, and then we'll put the Fireboard into that, connect up our cables. Here's the external battery. Here is the control wire that goes to the fans. Here's our ambient temperature probe. And I've got another temperature probe that I keep hooked up. We'll put that in. And you're all set, ready to start grilling. Here's a short clip on how I installed the ambient temperature probe. It was fairly simple to do. I did take off the shelf for that, as well as it's much easier to fish the cable through from the new probe. Unfortunately, when I installed the ambient temperature probe into my grill, I didn't start the video in time, number one, and for some reason it didn't capture any of the audio once I started it recording. So I'm going to try to explain what I'm doing here, just to give you kind of an idea of what needs to be done to install that temperature probe. The other thing you can do, it does come with an alligator clip, so rather than installing it the way the original one was installed, you can clip that somewhere inside the grill and use it that way as well. So on the left side, there's going to be a bracket where the temperature probe is mounted, and there's 2 screws that hold that on. Once you remove those screws, there's a 3rd screw that holds the probe into the bracket. Just remove that and pull the probe out, and I cut the probe off right at the end of it. In order to get the new cable pulled through the grill, you'll have to disconnect the cable from the connector. To do this, remove the 2 Phillips screws that hold the cover on, and then loosen the other 2 screws that hold the wires in, paying particular attention to which wire goes where. I believe the wire that has the red insulation on it goes to the negative terminal of the connector. Once you have the connector removed, take some black electrical tape and tape the 2 cables together. Then, while you pull with one hand and push with the other and do a little bit of wiggling and jiggling, you should be able to pull the new cable through the frame of the grill. Once you've got it pulled through, you'll have to put the connector back on, again paying attention to which wire goes where. Put that cover back on, and then you can slide the temperature probe into the mounting bracket and reattach that bracket to the wall. Hopefully that answers any questions that you might have on installing this unit. If there is anything else, please comment below or email me at montana3dprints@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and if you would, like and subscribe, please. Have a great day.